Okay, so when reviewing for the unit, one of the things I like to do is look at in the past what have people struggled with the most in this unit. And one of the things that I find that people have said that was difficult on an exam is knowing what to do when, right? How to set up a problem. Like, is this a compound interest problem, or am I using a savings formula? And whether you're using the formulas or using the calculator app, you kind of want to be able to identify what numbers go with what variables. Okay, so that's what I want to do a little bit today, is to sort of give an outline for how to go about setting up different types of problems and identifying what sort of problem you're working with. So we're going to look at what are the keywords and pieces of information that will help us identify that. So the test will take place. So My Open Math, you should be linking to from Blackboard. So when you say, is the test going to take place in My Open Math or Blackboard, hopefully you don't really notice a difference in that. So it's going to be written in My Open Math, but then posted in Blackboard. So you'll access it from Blackboard. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at some examples. And what I want to do with these examples is to, again, look at how to set them up. Oops. Let's do this. Okay, so when I look at this first question, suppose you borrow $600 at 10% interest, compounded monthly for 7 years. How much do you owe and how much of that is interest? What we want to do is to look at what information are we given here. Okay, so we're told how much we borrowed. So we have this initial amount. Okay. So that's P, or if we're using the finance app, PV. Okay. And we're given an interest rate, and compounded monthly tells us an N. The time is 7 years. When it asks the question, though, how much do we owe after 7 years and how much of that is interest, there's no mention of payments. Okay. So our payment is going to be 0. Okay. That means that what we must be finding is the future value, right? How much are we going to owe at the end? Okay. To sort of give you a little bit of a contrast, when I look at, visible that for a second. Okay. When I look at a loan question, okay, in this case, I want to buy a car for $28,000, or it might say that I'm going to loan $28,000. Okay, and it asks specifically what will the monthly payments be. Okay, so in this case, I would be finding the payment. If I'm finding a monthly payment, then at the end of the loan, I should owe $0. So one of the things that we need to be able to remember is that if you're making monthly payments, at the end, your future value is 0. Okay, and that's not explicitly written into the question. That's just something that we have to know from how loans work, right? The loan is over when it's paid off, which means the future value, that the amount you owe is 0. Okay. So here, okay, here the future value is 0, and we want to find the payments. Okay, the one that I think really trips people up the most, though, okay, are questions like this, where it says compounded or it says that they're using compound interest, so you feel like you should use the compound interest formula, right, or set it up like a compound interest problem, okay, but we're making regular deposits, okay. So what I want to do is maybe put up this question next to we'll put these two up next to each other and make a comparison. Okay. So on the left, I deposit $300 into an account. Okay, it earns interest compounded annually. How much am I going to have at the end? On the right, I'm depositing the money each year into an account. Okay, so here on the left, we deposit once at the beginning. Okay, over here on the right, we're making regular deposits. Okay, in this case, they happen to be annually, but the idea is that I have these regular deposits. That means that these deposits are going to be my payment amount, PMT. And my present value or starting amount is 0. Whereas on the left, it's the other way around. I'm putting this money in once at the beginning, and I'm not making regular deposits, so the PMT is 0. Okay. Or if you're using formulas, you're using the savings formula over here. And over here, you're using the compound interest formula. Okay. Now, what can be confusing is that compound interest uses compound interest formula. The savings formula uses compound interest. Loans use compound interest. Okay. So compound interest shows up all over the place. So that's not enough of a keyword. What we want to do is identify where the money's coming from, right? Is it coming once at the beginning, or is it regular deposits, okay, or payments? So that's what we want to keep track of as we go through this to make sure that we're using the right formula. And then once you have the right formula or the right starting information, then typically, people do just fine, right? You've practiced these in the homework, and then you shouldn't have a problem. Okay. The test date. Yes, sorry, I missed that question. When will the test be? So I meant to have the review materials out to you at the end of last week instead of today. I want to make sure that you have plenty of time. So I like to have at least a week with the review materials before we take the test. So I think that what we'll do is we'll plan on having the test at the beginning of next week. So I was planning on having it a little bit earlier than that before. Some of you asked me, and I said, okay, I gave you sort of a rough test date, but I'm going to push that back a little bit, and that's why I didn't put out a Blackboard announcement yet, because it was sort of going to depend on when I got you your review guide for the test. Okay, that's definitely going to come out today, though, so I think that what we'll do is plan for having the test on Tuesday of next week. The reason I'm picking Tuesday is because I just know maybe this is different between an in-class and an online, but anytime I've asked a class, would you rather have a test on Monday versus any other time? Monday is never the day for a test. Okay, so I'm just going to make that assumption about this class too, that people don't like to have an exam due on a Monday, so we'll plan on Tuesday for the test. So Tuesday the 16th. Okay, so a week from tomorrow. Okay. Having said that, though, next week on Monday, we're going to start the next unit. So there's typically a little bit of overlap, right? We start the new week's material before the homework for last week was due. right, to give you some time to finish it up. And the same thing's going to be true here. So the test will be Tuesday, but we'll start the next unit on logic on Monday. All right. Okay, so this was the main thing that I wanted to sort of go over with these keywords for practicing for the test. What we'll do is I'm gonna put out the review guide, and I think that maybe on Wednesday we'll spend some time going over the review guide. I don't want to go over it tomorrow because I don't want to have answered everything on it before you've had a chance to take a look at it. Okay. So the test on Tuesday is going to be open the whole day. So I know that this varies a lot from class to class. Okay. But for us, the exam is going to be